Order.
2 minutes.
Honourable member.
7:15 without a roof.
Said that.
So it's 7:15 without a roof. Is that right?
Order.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Police, Fire and Emergency Management. Minister, we've been waiting months for the draft bill and the funding model for the Tasmanian Fire Service. Our state's 4,000 volunteers have suffered years of underfunding, minimal levels of training, run-down stations and delayed vehicle replacements. Minister, we are approaching another dangerous fire season with our volunteers' morale at an all-time low. A 35-year-old veteran volunteer told me he has never seen the Tasmanian Fire Service more broken. You and I both know our volunteers, despite their disillusions and frustrations, will not shirk in keeping us all safe this summer. Minister, volunteer crews spent 2 days earlier this week working at Ellendale with parks crews on a fire in rough terrain ahead of warmer weather. Time is not on our side, with the fire season fast approaching. We can't keep taking our volunteers or our career staff for granted. They want certainty moving forward, especially around reform and funding now. Minister, when will you release the draft bill and funding model for the Tasmanian Fire Service?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Minister, Police, Fire and Emergency Management.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I want to pay tribute to all of our volunteers and our career staff in the fire service and our partner agencies for the outstanding work that they do to keep Tasmanians safe. And indeed, they've been busy on emergencies recently, but also fuel reduction burning right across the east coast and down south, making an impact in communities, because now is a great time to be keeping communities safe for summer. So I welcome Ms Johnston's interest in this particular matter. It should be of interest to all of us, and I believe what sounds like potentially her support for these reforms as well. These will be the most significant reforms that we've seen for fire and emergency services in Tasmania in decades, generations in fact, and they will deliver three key things, Mr Speaker. They'll unite the Tasmanian Fire Service and SES so that they can save lives in Tasmania. There'll be a stronger, clearer chain of command so that we know exactly who's in charge when we're delivering response to emergencies, and a fair, simple and sustainable funding model that will set up TFES for future generations, because we do know that the status quo cannot remain. The status quo does not work. The funding model that we have is complex, it's unfair, it's unsustainable. The governance and separating our emergency services does not work. We need to be delivering this. So we'll be working closely finalising the legislation, and I really look forward to bringing it into the Parliament, because it will be a test of all of us, whether we want to act on what we know that we need to change, because our community is facing more frequent and more severe natural disasters. We're seeing that
summer ahead of us.
I just said.
When are you going to bring it?
I just said we're facing more frequent and more severe natural disasters.
So bring
We are one of the most bushfire-prone places.
Minister has the call. Order.
We've had 3 100-year flood events in the last 10 years. So this Parliament will have an opportunity to act, and I look forward to bringing it before the Parliament so that we can keep Tasmanians safe.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.